So, I'm Derek. We are Cherry Blossom CBD. As you know, we are back with another episode of Friday with Friends. Normally, this happens in my office, but today, this is a special. This is a special interview. We have someone who's very close to us. We think of him as a hometown hero, Mackenzie Copely. Mackenzie's organization, 110 Health, has been for the last how many years?
Started about 7 years ago, but actively having events for the last 4 years.
Okay, so 7 years in, 4 years on the street. They've been selflessly donating their time and energy to making sure that Washingtonians, and often in some of the most challenged and deficient neighborhoods as far as like resources, but they're out there in the streets giving people COVID testing, but most importantly HIV testing. HIV education and testing is very important. There was one point here in the DMV between DC and Baltimore that we had third world levels of HIV infection. So this gentleman is doing, and his organization, his team, you're doing great work. So Kenzie, thank you for joining us on Friday with Friends. But just tell us about yourself and your story and what inspired you to get into the community and offer testing services. You know, like where does this initial motivation come from?
Yeah, totally. And thank you so much for setting this up.
Yeah, man.
It's really cool.
Oh, thanks. I appreciate it. This is what we call using social media for good.
Very nice. Yeah.
Not like, hey, look at me. It's like, look at someone else.
The more good we do, the better. And,
that's right.
So long as we don't have to do a TikTok dance video.
No. We're gonna try to stay away from the buffoonery if we can.
You said it,
I will continue to say it. People are watching buffoonery out there. You know that thing when business has gotten bad when we say us doing the buffoonery. It's like, oh man, it's sold out.
You gotta have limits.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, but what got you into all this stuff?
Yeah, so man, I could fill this whole thing with a story, but I'll keep it short. So I grew up in Massachusetts.
Okay.
Came down here about 10 years ago for school. And since I was younger, I just knew that I wanted to help people.
Okay.
Save the world, maybe, but like definitely help people, you know.
Like were your parents like flower children or something? Like it's like instilled in you from a young age?
Dude, depends which one you're talking to. Love you guys. They're both for sure good people, but son of an engineer.
Okay.
My dad, who started working for a company 32, maybe 33 years ago, and now
back when that happened, huh?
I know, right? you look at his LinkedIn. My buddy liked his work anniversary years ago. He's like, why does your dad even have a LinkedIn? It just says, I work here. I have worked here. This is where I continue.
You want to find me? I'll be here.
Yeah, exactly. But it's important for business development, etc. But yeah, so dad's an engineer and mom is a social worker.
Okay.
She was also our high school's cross country coach for like 18 years from the time I was in kindergarten until when my younger brother graduated from high school. But just kind of that like cross mix of like engineering, like constantly like figuring things out. Like bedtime stories were like proper column distribution in the basement of a skyscraper.
Wow,
so.
that's pretty funny.
Like,
that'll put you to sleep.
And then mom's just always about like doing good and stuff, and kind of like she's like a super high energy, laughy, fun love bunny type of thing, and like kind of like that crisscross is like somewhere around where I land.
Okay.
But so I don't know, but I just always had this sense of like, you know, like a right and wrong,
right,
a little bit, and so just have really been interested in helping people. I feel like I have the opportunity to do that, and
you are doing that.
Appreciate that, and I kind of feel like it's a duty to some extent. You know, like I was born with like a pretty good hand, and I just feel like I feel like humans should be best off, and it's like on everyone to do as well as they can in like whatever context they're in, but also like help helps,
right?
You know, and I just have fun doing it, and I think it's something I ought to do too. So
that's real. You see, that's real. That's not even like some staged, emotion. That's awesome. No, that's real stuff, man. Like, you really want to help people. It's not just like, well, I say I want to help people, but somewhere back here it's about the money. But no, that's really good.
Yeah, no, I always say like we love fucking around, but we're not fucking around.
Right. I like that. I like that.
But so anyways, I kind of like had that.
This t-shirt.
Desire. Just throw me a little bit of those rights. That's right. But so kind of always like had that seed, right, if you will, for a while, and went to school, studied economics and physics.
What school?
I started at Maryland,
okay,
and then for the last 3 years I went over to Georgetown.
Okay.
Finished up there, and so because I started at Maryland, and then I knew I was gonna bounce to somewhere, just move somewhere. But I loved my friends so much, is what I found, and so I was like, well, let me just stay in the neighborhood. So
it's two good schools.
So yeah,
they used to play basketball against each other, but it was a long time ago.
I know, right?
Yeah.
And they played the national championship for soccer against each other the year after I transferred.
Get out of here!
Too,
huh? Shows you how much I've been paying attention to soccer.
It's pretty cool, It's big in Maryland. It's big in Maryland. They'll do like 7,000 people.
Big in soccer.
Yeah, like
yes.
Like we talk about not fucking around.
Yeah,
they are no
area. Like DMV, they like some soccer.
It was
soccer and lacrosse works here.
Exactly.
It doesn't work in a lot of places. So.
Exactly. But so anyways, always had a sense that I wanted to help people, and like tried my hand at a couple different things. Like kind of like it's funny how hard it is to get people to let you help people.
Huh? There's more money in hurting people.
I don't even want to think about that. But that might
that's
be
the truth.
That might be a driver. So like volunteered at domestic violence safe house all throughout college, like in the night shift, like 11 p.m. to 7 a.m.
Wow.
Like got to know a bunch of women who were impacted by DV, wow, and like started to be around people who just came from different like backgrounds and places than me, and like quite eye-opening in a way.
One story may morph and change into depending on where they started.
Yeah, exactly, and just like there are 10,000 different ways that life can go.
No doubt.
And I think like when you're born, like you're only made aware of the ones that are directly in front of you, or the ones that you have access to viewing somehow or another, or the ones that you're curious to Google. But if you don't even know it exists, then you're probably not going to Google it. So.
Coming from a generation before you, we are, I think I speak for a lot of us, and I think that we are dependent on your generation to build the communication bridges that we do not. You know what I mean? And I think the mindset is there. You're more open to different types of people. You're more inclusive. Everybody can be in this space without, tension. I think in ways that we didn't always see when we were a little bit younger. And that's encouraging. That's really, we really have a lot of hope in that way for the future. I know there's a lot of pushback against those thoughts and ideas right now, but so you guys are gonna be okay.
Yeah. I hope so, and I think so, and I think it's one of those things that just kind of improves generation over generation, just with time.
Yeah.
It'd be dope if like right away today, like everyone could just kind of.
I think that's going to be the good thing about social media.
Oh yeah, totally.
There's the positive that it's opening up conversations with people who you may never have anything in common with.
Right.
And then you can start sharing your stories and experiences with somebody who could from another part of the world.
Yeah.
That's when it's good. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, just at some point it'd be dope if everyone came to the realization that we're all the same species.
We are. They know it.
And like, if aliens come and like attack Earth,
we're not going to get sectioned off.
Yeah, we'll stop fucking doing this bullshit infighting. like
no, I'm not helping those people.
Yeah, it seems like an awfully.
That is really funny. Yeah,
it seems like an awfully immaterial thing to be picky about.
But it's kind of the extreme sometimes that people have to experience in order for us to get together. It's kind of weird, but that's just the truth.
Right. It's very socialized.
Let's kind of reel it back in a little bit and talk about your work.
Larry's gonna have a job on the end.
Right. Yes. How are you received from the communities that you're serving? And I take it it's not just in here in DC proper. We're happy to be in DC today, but Maryland, Virginia, also you're out there as well.
Yeah, and at different national things.
Okay, really? Awesome.
Yeah.
That's grown since the last time we talked because it wasn't.
Well, the org still serves DC only.
Okay.
But you go to the U.S. Conference on AIDS or something,
Okay.
and you'll meet people, make friends from all over the country and stuff like that.
What is that about? Like the U.S. Conference? Like, what kind of people? What kind of professions are you seeing?
Dude, it's sick. I love it. Best 4 consecutive days of my entire life
Really?
were spent at the 2018 U.S. Conference on AIDS.
That's a statement you don't hear every day.
I know, right?
Right.
Especially from a 20-year-old.
Right.
No, but I mean, it's just it's like everybody it's like everybody in the industry descends upon one place at one time, and so it's fun because just I'm sure if you guys ever go to hemp conferences or CBD conferences, it's just the level of conversation at which you can begin because everybody already understands this,
Right.
Because it's what we spend our days on.
Yes.
Is up there, and then you can build from there.
It's like this collective energy is happening. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's just a real blast, and I mean they throw a fucking party too. so it's a good
Interesting
time.
to hear that. I was trying to envision the gala at the end of this thing. It's this raucous,
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, because it's all rainbow everything and
yeah.
super positive, and they'll bring in dancers and just all these people who have been on drag dancers and all these people who are just there for the moment,
right?
For sure. So it's a good time, but as far as how I'm received, there's a spectrum of it. I would say can go super easy, hit it off right away, kind of just like we did. And then other people are a bit more who the fuck are you?
Right.
Type of thing, which I think given the 100 other maybe experiences that they had with somebody who looks like me is a not unreasonable thing for them to feel. Getting back to our point at the very beginning, it'd be really wonderful eventually to hit this point where all right, you're just a human too, and I'm not gonna take your skin color or your age or just different demographic topics as input data for myself for how I should approach this interaction.
Right.
But I'm also the one who's coming into the community from the outside, so I think of it as my job to make that transition, make that relationship as smooth as possible, and just come from a place of I don't know, kindness.
Is there skepticism? What is you see the comment, they walk up, they see this table, and these right here on their block that they walk every day, and all of a sudden you're here and you're talking about HIV testing. Maybe today it's HIV, maybe today it's COVID testing. So they're or I'm not down with that, or is it tell me more? Is it hey, let's test me? You know what I mean? I think you happen to be here on the right day. I woke up this morning thinking I might have got infected. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, that's a good question, and a lot of what I just said applied primarily to different meetings that we might have with say the Department of Health, different community partners, different industry leaders, things like that. But as far as when we're out on site, it's much more than just me. It's the team and then all of our volunteers, and it's they're the ones who are leading that interaction. But out on site's cool and funny because we'll range all the way from hey, do you want a free 15-minute HIV screen? I know, by the way, if you can have CBD gummies too. if you guys into it, it'll range all the way from absolutely, I'd love to do that, to that sounds great, but I actually just got tested, which is a great.
That's a great answer.
Right?
Yeah,
That's
what you want. Yeah.
To I might be swearing too much, and if I am, please let me know. But this is a quote. They're like, fuck yourself. You know? And but that's fine, too, because it's like, each of those 3 people, like, they didn't invite us into that space. They weren't like, yo, I'm having a party, come through, you knock on their door, and they say, fuck you. They're like, why do you say that? You invited me here. You know, it's like you're kind of showing up in like their spot, in their place that they've been 100 times. And like, you just gotta roll with the punches and like, you know, be polite. I think I think that like that screw you is harmless. And I try to stay realistic about like how much like hearts and minds I can change, you know. It's like,
you think that's like some of that has to do with like they see you as a kind of de facto part of the healthcare system, and like there's this lack of trust.
Totally.
Like there's no way that I'm gonna let you
test
me on anything.
Yeah, right. And they could be saying it for all sorts of reasons. You know, it could be like worries and like personal bias, like against the healthcare industry. Could be because of the way I look, because of the way certain volunteers look, and we try to maintain like a really diverse volunteer team. Like the first school that we partnered with for volunteers, all of our volunteers are students. The first school after Georgetown, which was just easiest and most natural because it's where a lot of my personal connections were. The very next school was Howard. Because it's like, you know, we're aware of this
the
stuff.
Georgetown of HBCU.
Exactly. Yeah. Maybe even better than that. but because
pretty
like
impressive alumni list over there.
Yeah. And because it's like the best service. Because I'm always thinking like, how can we help people the best? That's the objective. And the best service like is not putting 5 blonde 19-year-old white girls like in that tent at that community.
There is a perception. We do live in the United States, and I can understand that there is a perception of people who may live in disadvantaged communities that these people think they're coming down here to save us.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I've heard that from people who look like me, and I definitely understand, you know, that fear, the apprehension, that, you know, the lack of trust.
Right.
But I mean, there are people out there who don't look like you, or like really good intentions. You know what I mean? And sometimes you just gotta put those walls down and let these people in and see where this can go.
Right. You know? Yeah. And I think like totally. And I think like a big part of our job is to like bridge that trust gap as immediately as possible. Because our whole like model is designed. So we do free fast HIV screening out in the community, out of a 10 by 10 canvas tent. Because when we founded it when I was 21, we didn't have $50,000 to buy van money to buy some nice, beautiful mobile unit with bells and whistles. It was like, nah, like I got lawn mowing money in my pocket. Like, what do we need? What are the requirements?
But you took that your meager beginnings and turned it into something. You pursued this dream, and like here it is. You know what I mean? It's actually working and serving people. You need to be applauded for that, honestly.
I mean, it takes a lot of people. You know, I wish they could all be here.
How many people do you have on your team?
On the full-time team, so I have a co-founder who's fantastic, and it's critical. Like I said, I studied econ and physics in school, and we run an HIV screening company now. I was like, I need somebody who knows something about medicine. Insert like one of my best friends in the world, guy who came to be Dr. David Schaefer.
David Schaefer.
Shout out David Schaefer, MD. That's right. But he was just a 19-year-old kid when I was 19 when we met each other in class. And then wanted to start it, just like asked myself that same question, like who knows anything about medicine? By that point in time, he was already in medical school.
Wow.
And like I was like, all right, well this guy can probably.
Wow, that's pretty impressive.
We met at 19.
Okay, all right.
Once we graduated, he went there, and so I brought him on, and thank goodness I did. You know, it's like just teams work so much better than individuals. And then also, shout out Larry. And then also it's like, you know, I need somebody to keep me from breaking HIPAA. And also like, what the heck is HIPAA? And like, you know, just get someone with some like expertise beyond just like, let's figure it out.
That's funny. I need someone to keep me from breaking tables.
Right? I know we can order more if you need it. But then I have one other like about full-time teammate, and we have like a whole host of fantastic, dedicated students who volunteer for One Tent, like who are our student leaders who are about 10 hours a week.
Excellent.
And then 3 students at each school. They do all of the volunteer recruitment at each school.
Okay.
And then beneath them or with them are now, I remember training our first 12 volunteers back in 2017 in a class over at Georgetown, and today now we have, we're coming up on 3,000.
Wow. Let's give those 3,000 volunteers.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. I always say
awesome.
I always say we can draw up the best programs in the world on the whiteboard, but if no one's there to execute them,
that's right,
regularly, no one's helped, and that's the objective.
It's one hell of a lawnmower, isn't it?
Yeah, it's one hell of a lawnmower. Yeah, I know, right?
So are you getting some notice for this? Are you getting some press, some public, some hub?
Yeah, bit by bit. And it's funny because I don't really care about that stuff. If I could solve all the world's problems and have nobody know my name.
But it gets your message out, and that's the important part.
Right, exactly.
Other people care, yeah.
Exactly. I got to remind myself of that.
Yeah.
Because it is important, and
it is.
And it makes my mom proud too. So.
And I mean, the more people you know, the more people you can hire, or more volunteers you can get, the more tables and tents you can set up. You know what I mean? It keeps the dream growing.
It's impact.
That's right.
Yeah, exactly.
That's right.
So we've been in just about. We've had some good traction in the press. We've been in just about every single HIV focused magazine.
Excellent.
And there are a handful of really nice ones and good ones and informative ones called Plus, Pause, The Body, just 3 kind of industry staples, if you will.
Okay.
Vice came and filmed us for
a
documentary.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's a wild email to have show up in your inbox.
Yeah, it is.
It's yeah, my teammate and I had just spent 2 hours cleaning our storage unit.
Wow.
Because this is real life. And then we were heading to get a sandwich, a Go Us sandwich thing.
Right.
Sandwiches are fantastic. And then refresh my inbox, and it says introduction to Vice, and I was like, what the fuck is going on? So, but yeah, so that
our work pays off, man. That's what's going on.
I guess so. Yeah, friends who think about you when their friends talk about having a documentary, and also who trust you to and respect what you're doing.
There's somebody that you may have just touched, and they're up in Manhattan at a cocktail party and blah blah blah, and someone from Vice is there. Next thing you know, you get an email, and that's how it works, man.
Yeah,
that's why people need to know.
Yeah, exactly.
That's right.
Right. So it's crazy, and I'm grateful for it. But yeah, so they came and filmed us for an HIV doc, and then WeWork, our office building company. Shout out WeWork.
Right.
I definitely don't use it as a hotel. They did a feature on us.
It's a hotel. That definitely deserves some discount office time over here.
I'm just glad I don't pay per hour.
He's got some editing to do. Yes. That's pretty funny.
So they covered us, and then wildly, my friend sent me a video the other day of CNN because Mayor Bowser, DC's mayor, was on there talking about DC's response to COVID and vaccinations and testing and everything. And so now we're doing COVID testing for the city.
Yes.
We've tested about 10,000 people in the same neighborhoods, underserved neighborhoods in the eastern half of the city, northeast, southeast, just lower income, majority black neighborhoods here in DC. And she was just talking about what all is going on, and they panned over, and it turns out they came out to one of our events, and they showed the logo.
Yes. That's what I'm talking about. So that the logo up here. I don't even think about that.
So bits and snippets, and I don't know. Maybe someday we'll have a PR person, and it'll become an explicit priority. But yeah, I've been getting some love.
Right. Okay. What's next for 110?
Dude, we always got something in the oven.
Yeah.
I really want to do vaccinations.
Really?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, so in December 2020 we started doing COVID testing.
Mm-hmm.
The city was doing testing Monday to Saturday,
Mm-hmm.
but not on Sundays.
Okay.
And like that's such a critical day.
Yeah, people are off.
And people are off. Exactly. And so we're like, yo, like that's not happening. Like, would you like us to do that? And they were like,
yeah.
yes, please. And I'm like, yeah, you know,
Yeah.
Let's fight this new plague. And so started doing that, and then flash forward, it's like, all right, we're doing a good thing. We're responding to the pandemic well. We're identifying the problem through testing, but I don't feel like we're solving the problem.
Okay.
And I think that given the current tool set, would be best done with the vaccine. And so I'd love to do some pop-up vaccination events.
So what is like you maybe do like testing here and like vaccinations over here kind of deal? Or?
Yeah, we could put them side by side, but I also kind of like putting the vaccination events out like solo, because there's some different like technical requirements. Like testing, you have to do it outside, but because of like
Right.
just the exposure and everything. But vaccinations you can plug indoors.
Right.
And so like we're talking to the city about like, yo, like, can we put that in the metro?
It's not a bad idea.
Subway, like.
I gotta believe less people are using it right now.
Yeah, right. But also it's like, because some people like you're just of all the people who are unvaccinated now, I think it's about like 30% of DC. Like there's a chunk of those people who like they're just not gonna get vaccinated.
It seems to be the consistent number like across the country, like
right.
40%.
Yeah, exactly. And so there's some people who like just aren't gonna get vaccinated, and like stinks, but it is what it is. You gotta like know what you can control,
right.
And know what you can impact, so you don't end up wasting your time or like
Yeah.
grind your gears without moving the ship forward. Ship forward.
Very funny.
So I just want to make sure that
you gotta move them both forward.
I guess, but I don't think about our program with the team yet. But anyways, and then there's another chunk who like the sense is that they're unvaccinated because they haven't had access to it yet.
Okay.
And so it's that group of people who we want to just put it out in front of. The same way that we do with like the HIV testing, like so much of our success has come from like, well, yeah, like we like just identify where are the hot spots. We find out where our clinic's missing from those hot spots, aka like where's there a problem without a solution, and then we just stick the freaking services right where people are.
Because inevitably, some there are going to be people in these communities who are like, I don't or I cannot get to, I don't have access, I don't have time. I'm glad you're here.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
And that's the win.
And so much of our shtick has been like, just make it as accessible and like low cost from time, money, like all those perspectives. So like all of our services are free of charge always. So that's like COVID testing, HIV testing, voter registration now.
You heard that, guys, right?
We give people Narcan, which is like,
wow.
You and I shoot up some drugs. I pass out. You want to chill tomorrow because we have plans. So you don't want me to die. You can just spray this
God forbid
thing.
we're ever in that situation.
I know. Right. Hypothetically, but save my life.
Yes,
but so it's all free.
Wow. Okay.
Always, and that kind of stems from where we come from and how we were created. And I was too rambly at the beginning when you asked me like how we created this and everything. But like the long story, very short, is that by the time I was 21, I knew that I wanted to help people in volunteering, trying all these different things, applying all these jobs to like help people, like applying to like refugee camps and like I don't know, just this stuff that like I thought would be thrilling and good for humanity. And I was volunteering at an HIV testing clinic, and they were testing a bunch of people out in the community similar to what we do, but they were turning away a ton of people because they didn't have insurance.
Wow.
And it just struck me as so wrong.
Like, if you're able to get insured, that allows you to get tested. But if you can't get insurance, so you're definitely not worthy of testing.
Right. And it's like, and who's uninsured?
Yeah.
A
lot of people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Thankfully in DC we have a pretty high insurance rate, but like the reasons why you wouldn't be insured is because like you don't have a full-time like career salary job.
Right.
Or whatever job you have just doesn't offer health benefits.
Most jobs I don't think offer health benefits, to tell you the truth.
And the ones that don't are usually the lower paying jobs too. So if you're lucky enough to have a freaking job, right? Because like we know what it's like to not have a job. Like you're just lower income and you don't have health insurance, so it's just a tough spot.
It is.
And you're at greater risk of a bunch of bad things happening, especially on like the health front. And so to me, it just seems obvious that that's a good group of people to help.
Yeah, well, we're glad. Like for speaking for Larry and I, and just our group, we're glad that you're out here helping people. Like we're glad to have people like you. The world needs people like you, really. There's enough people who are selfish and just want to achieve for themselves, but there's very few people, and I find that the few make a huge impact on the whole.
Yeah.
Those two people who like yourselves, who just decide that you're gonna dedicate your life to helping the common man. It's awesome, and it definitely needs to be applauded. That's exactly why we're doing this interview.
Well, I appreciate it, and you guys do your part too.
Well, we try.
Like when we reached out, because we're like, yo, we have this wacky idea. We want to give people CBD gummies to like prompt them to get HIV screened. Like you guys were the first call, and like
thank you.
It was like
I'm happy to give you those gummies.
It was like an automatic yes.
We've never told anybody that.
Really?
We've never told anyone that.
Dude.
We've never told anyone.
And you're telling me about PR.
I'm just saying. If you're going to do, I just feel like if you're going to do, or you're going to give to the community, going out and blowing the horn, especially we're a for-profit business. It looks different, you know what I mean? But going out and blowing the horn and be like, hey, we're giving to the community, seems to sort of just like take from that. You know what I mean? You just give and you do what you do, and if somebody finds out, you find out. But you know within yourself that you're doing what you can do for other people.
I know exactly what you mean. I think that same mechanism probably might be like part of my a driver of like any bashfulness that I feel about the things that we've done.
No, don't be bashful. We can get you and Joe Biden in there and see how to brag and toot your own horn.
Nah, but I think if everybody, I think like that's something that like people should know that you're doing, because like no one's harmed by your saying it. I know what you mean. You don't want to look like you have disingenuous motivations, but at the same time, like here's the thing: if everybody had like disingenuous motivations, but they were helping people all the time, like maybe the world would still be better off. And
it's funny to think about that way, but
right? It's like, I don't know, like, yeah, sure, you're a little bit of a fucking asshole, but like, not talking about you, but you're a little bit of a fucking asshole, but like, you saved a bunch of lives.
Right.
And so on balance, the world is benefiting.
See?
But
him and my wife call me a jackass all the time.
Oh, well. I won't speak to that.
They speak enough for it. They're onto something sometimes, you know. They really are.
And then like the benefit of bringing it up is like societally is that like you might spark an idea for somebody else.
That's right.
To do something. I think that's the real value. It's like the domino.
I'm going to quote Tupac loosely, because it's not verbatim, but he's like, I don't necessarily need to be the brain that starts the revolution or to make change, but if my words are the seeds in someone else's brain, you see what I'm saying? Like that next generation. And that's kind of like, so someone's going to see what you're doing, and the next group, the next generation, I don't know, A, I guess, I don't know if we're at Z now, I guess gotta be A. You know, so
between this and the variants, we're
right. But like, they may take your idea and expand on it and do something bigger, and which really is a testament to you, you know, so we are, well, this is like the end, like we're gonna, this is kind of like you don't really have, you're not promoting anything, but usually we do like the selfish, what do you call it, the shameless plug.
Oh yeah,
portion of the show. But like for yourself, like is there anything that you want people to know, or to tell people where to find you, where to donate to your cause?
Definitely where to find us, like on the testing front.
Talk down, baby, tell them.
No, I mean you can find us like we're pretty active on Instagram because the events are pretty.
What's your Instagram?
It's the same as the organization.
110 Health?
Yeah, at 110 Health.
Okay.
No spaces, no dashes, no bells, no whistles.
No bells.
Just a bunch of pretty pictures of nice events that we.
They might F around, but they're not effing around.
So yeah, they're on our website. And if anybody wants to donate to us, we'd really appreciate that. Promise to put the money to good use.
They will.
That can be through our website too. There's a nice button it's called Donate.
The donate button. You can't miss it.
But get tested. Come to the events. We post it online, and tell your friends to get tested, and just stay proactive about this stuff, because like what's it? A pinch of preparation is worth an ounce of response.
Yes. What's it? A pound of cure? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure?
Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
So
yes.
take advantage of the time. Get ahead of stuff before it becomes a problem.
On that note, we will close. Get tested. Take advantage. It's free. My God. That's like the best word in the human language to most people.
and you can have some cherry blossom CBD gummies.
All natural. Okay? So that's it. That's about as much self-promotion as I'm going to do on this. This is not what this is about. This is about promoting you today. So, Mackenzie, thank you so much. 110 Health. Go on that website. It was 110health.org.com.
Yes.
To 110health.org. All right?
Yeah.
Thank you guys.
Thank you, Derek.
Thank you.